This is the story of Ethan, a young man who came seconds from death and came back changed. What he experienced beneath the water wasn't just a scare, it was an awakening, and nothing in his life was ever the same again.
It all started on a trip with friends. One of those movie-like trips, laughter, road tunes, high spirits, and promises of unforgettable memories. We had rented a house near a reservoir. The plan was simple: disconnect from routine, enjoy the sun, drink a little, live. On the third day, the heat was unbearable. Someone suggested we swim across the reservoir. It sounded like a good idea. Everyone agreed. I hesitated. I'd always been an average swimmer, not the type to take risks. But that day, maybe out of pride or just wanting to fit in, I said yes. And that yes changed everything. The swim started easy. The water was refreshing, the mood light. It felt doable. But halfway across, I felt my body grow heavy. The current got stronger. My legs began to falter. My breath shortened. The others swam ahead, unaware I was falling behind. For the first time in my life, I panicked. My arms flailed in the water without aim. My head dipped and rose, dipped and rose. Every attempt to breathe brought a mouthful of water. And then, it happened. My body gave out. I knew I couldn't go on. I sank. And in that deep silence, something inside me also sank. Fear gave way to something else. I don't know if it was acceptance, maybe surrender. But there, surrounded by bubbles and liquid shadows, I came undone. My awareness began to float. It felt like I was being pulled out of my own body. And strangely, it didn't hurt. On the contrary, it was peaceful. I saw scenes from my life. Not like a movie, but as if each memory carried pure emotion. The smell of my grandmother's embrace, my sister's laughter, a farewell hug, watching the rain from a window. Small things, simple moments now suddenly immense. Then I felt a presence, the kind so many speak of when near death. It wasn't a being with form, it was consciousness, a vibration, a love so profound it broke me wide open. It didn't speak, but I understood. Everything. I understood I was between worlds, that my life was hanging by a thread, and this was the point it could be cut. But I also understood I had a choice. There was a call to return, if I wanted to. In that space beyond death, there was no lying. I couldn't pretend. And I saw just how much I hid from life, how I lived to please, to fit in, to avoid conflict. I saw how I betrayed myself daily, saying yes when I meant no, settling for less, postponing dreams out of fear. I cried, not with tears, but with my soul, and I begged for another chance, and in that exact moment, I felt a tug. Someone was pulling me, a friend who noticed I was missing. I emerged coughing up water, dazed, shaking, but alive and transformed. They brought me to shore, wrapped in arms and voices, tears and relief. But inside, there was a new silence, a silence that screamed truths. In the days that followed, I was flooded with brutal clarity. Everything felt different. The colours, the sounds, the wind on my skin. It was like I had returned with a reset soul and awakened heart. I started to change. I left the job that was draining me, let go of friendships that were just routine, reconnected with family, started therapy, meditation, and most importantly, I began to listen to myself. For the first time, I truly wanted to know who I was, without masks, without filters. without fear of disappointing others. I learned that the water that nearly killed me was the same water that cleansed me inside. Today, years later, I still hear that silence. It walks with me, like a constant reminder that life is fragile, and that living in fear of upsetting others is its own slow death. Coming back from the edge wasn't just a gift, it was a calling to live with courage, with presence, with truth. And that's what I try to do every day. If you're hearing this now, maybe life is calling you too. Maybe you don't have to go as close to the edge as I did. Maybe all you need is to pause, listen, and choose. Choose to live. Before time runs out, before the current sweeps everything away, before the silence comes and doesn't bring you back.
If you enjoyed this emotional story, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss others like it. Thank you.